Has this ever happened to you?
Hello?
Well, actually, if it hasn't by now, then you're one of the lucky few.
Follow me.
These time vortexes have been popping up all over Hoxie's. Many other companies would normally bail in such scenarios. However, we see it as an opportunity. Various minerals obtained from these vortexes hold special properties that carry a lot of research value. Anyone brave enough to seek out these dimensional minerals can expect a hefty bonus. We won't sugarcoat it though. Chances are you'll never make it back to our time. And there's no insurance for any years you might lose in there. These vortexes are said to have been caused by this green figure seen in this blurry photograph. This figure seems to refer to himself as the Durja Historian, as written on the guide. If, by any chance, you're stuck in what we label as the pre-alpha dimension, then this video should prove useful.
The pre-alpha build is a curious situation. The weird medkits, the dark atmosphere, the unfinished AI, the dumb voice clips. It's stuck in that weird time where DRG was still not itself quite yet. Like literally, the next pre-alpha build does this minor style adjustment to the caves and already resembles the closed alpha build more. I want to do something special seeing as this short snippet of time was special for DRG. Remember when the developers dropped a ton of teasers for on-site refinery? I promise I'm going somewhere with this. To the point that when I played the mission for the first time I felt like I've already played it before. So seeing as the pre-alpha is inaccessible to the public, I'm thinking I should dump a ton of detailed info about it. And you too will have played the pre-alpha, subconsciously in your head. Unless there's some weird time warp tech. Let's kick it right off with classes. The pre-alpha selection consists of mostly familiar and some weird tester classes. The main differences between them are obviously the equipment, flare stats, and for some even different max health and shield values. Here's Engineer. In this particular build he's carrying an auto pistol, a combat shotgun, sentry guns, and a zipline gun. His general ability of deploying sentries is still there, but it isn't carrying the extra explosive power, nor does he have platforms yet. In a later pre-alpha build, his zipline gun does get swapped for a platform gun. The flares carried are 30 red colored ones. There should be more detailed stats somewhere on the screen for these. Here's Driller. In this build he's carrying a pistol, a flamethrower, and dual drills. His general ability of easily carving out the terrain is still there. About the only thing he lacks is a C4 and axes, really. When it comes to flares, he has the same 30 red ones. Here's Gunner. In this build he's carrying a pistol, a grenade launcher, a Gatling gun, and a zipline gun. His basic thing of effortlessly carrying out tons of damage is still there. He is missing the revolver and for some reason is carrying a grenade launcher on top of the minigun. As for flares, he's actually carrying 20 red colored ones, having the least amount of flares out of the classes. Here's Navigator, or Scout. Navigator used to be the Scout's internal name. I don't think they call him that anymore. He's carrying an auto pistol, a sawn-off shotgun, a flash gun, and a grappling hook. His general abilities of lighting and quick traversal are still intact, especially since grapple has no cooldown. About the only thing he doesn't have is an assault rifle and a non-underwhelming double-barreled. It's really bad. You'll soon find out why. As for regular flares, he's carrying 25 blue colored ones of a 2-second reduction to the throw cooldown. Onto the test classes. First we have 2P Gungineer. I can only guess that 2P means 2-player, implying it's 2 characters merged into one. In this case it's Gunner Engineer, in case it wasn't obvious already. He's carrying a pistol, a Gatling gun, sentry guns, a zipline gun, and a platform gun. For some reason the grenade launcher and combat shotgun didn't make it through the merge. It's pretty much just Gunner with sentry guns and platforms. The max health and shield values were increased to 150 and 50 respectively. 30 bright white flares are carried by this class. Then we have 2P Driller Scout, which is, well, Driller and Scout combined. He's carrying a pistol, dual drill, a flash gun, a grenade launcher, and a grappling hook. This one is even weirder after the merge. The grenade launcher just pops out of nowhere, meanwhile flamethrower and sawn-off shotgun never appear. Max health and shield values have also been increased to 200 and 100 respectively. The flares carried are also 30 bright ones. And finally, the myth, the legend, generic hero. All of the classes and more in one. He's carrying dual drills, Gatling gun, flash gun, grenade launcher, supply beacon, sentry gun, platform gun, zipline gun, empty hands, pistol, auto pistol, super shotgun, assault rifle, flamethrower, rocket launcher, and later on, filthy cheat gun. He's a literal one-man army, perfect for solo cleanups and cave exploration. On top of that, he carries 100 bright white flares with 1 second cooldown. No matter how different these dwarves may be from one another, they all share the same love for gold. In the pre-alpha, instead of upgrading your gear at the rig, you upgrade your health and shield as you mine in mission. It utilizes an upgrade system called GoldFrenzy, where the more gold you mine, the more health and shield you'll get. It starts off with a small requirement of 9 gold for a 5 max health increase, and eventually reaches the point where you need 75 gold for a 25 health increase. Here's a table of all the upgrades you can get. Pause the video if you want to take a longer look at it. You'll see that after 1000 gold the upgrades stop rolling in. Of course, let's not forget about the equipment. You'll be seeing some raw stats at the left of the weapon or tool that I'll be showcasing. Grenade. It's actually the most powerful weapon at any class's disposal, dealing 250 damage. Which is a lot of damage considering the strongest creature in the pre-alpha has, well, 250 health. Pistol. A fairly simple handgun dishing out a decent amount of damage. It appears that in the pre-alpha the devs really didn't want you to run out of ammo, since pistols come with over 1000 bullets. Auto pistol, a weaker but much faster version of the pistol, coming with a larger clip size and slower reload times. Combat shotgun, a powerful and fairly accurate shotgun which already comes with quite a bit of damage per pallet. Actually, each pallet's damage is the equivalent of a single pistol shot. Point blank shots can deal up to 60 damage. Flamethrower. Just like in the modern builds, it's really good against small creatures, but also deals impressive amounts of damage against large creatures, just not against spawners. Coming with a single 150 clip in the pre-alpha. In the next build the clip does get reduced to 100, but also comes with some ammo in reserve. Determining the damage for this was very difficult. I'd say it deals around 50 damage per second. Gatling gun, the DPS powerhouse as intended. Each shot deals just a bit more damage than the pistol, coming at 7.5. Understandably comes with long reload times and with the ability to overheat. Grenade launcher dishes out a good amount of damage within a radius. The explosion particle effect makes the radius seem much bigger than it is. Also absent from engineer's loadout. Sawn-off shotgun, a small double-barreled shotgun exclusive to scout, but also the weakest shotgun available. With a mere 2 damage per pallet, totaling at a disappointing 30 damage within point blank range. Sentry gun, acting just like in the closed alpha where you cannot recall it and just disappears after running out of bullets. The ammo count isn't displayed on the back but appears to be somewhere within the 200 range. Empty hands, this is really just the pistol but with the model missing. I used this to get many of the cinematic shots, but the damn hand is still visible on the screen. Super shotgun, the most powerful shotgun, but due to the single shot clip has a lower DPS than engineer's combat shotgun. Deals 6 damage per pallet, totaling at 90 damage within point blank range. Assault rifle, unused by scout but comes with a large clip at 6 damage per shot. The model is also just a Happy Meal version of the combat shotgun. Rocket launcher, one of the cut weapons but extremely powerful due to the damage output and fast rate of fire. Also yeah, it emits very bright lights. Filthy cheat gun, which was added in a later pre-alpha build. I assume it was added in purely for cleaning out enemies when testing cave layouts. Pickaxe, this iconic tool is able to carve through terrain and gold in one hit when it comes to the pre-alpha. What's funny is you cannot perform the Q mining technique, which can be done in tons of later builds. Medkit. Before Red Sugar, there were medkits. Each dwarf carries 2 of these. Upon usage, they provide with a full heal and can be refilled via a resupply. Supply pod. Any gold spent on supply pods isn't deducted from the objective progress and costs just 50 gold to summon. Each player can only resupply once, meaning you cannot pick up more than 1 resupply if you're playing solo. Also capable of damaging just the player when landing, the kill range is way too big. Zipline gun, functionally pretty much identical to the modern zipline, save for not needing to hold E when using it. A whopping 10 zipline shots are carried in the pre-alpha. Dual drill, again functionally identical, comes with infinite fuel but retains the overheat and low damage. Seemingly unintentional, but it's capable of destroying gold instead of picking it up. Flash gun, just an early name for the flare gun. Many of these tools are all functionally identical just in their early stages, really. Unlike the modern flare gun, you were only able to load a single flare here. Grappling hook comes with no recharge time, so it can be easily abused. Every character is able to use the grapple by pressing the G key. Perhaps DRG's original no-clip? Lastly, platform gun. Produces brown platforms and comes with much more limited ammo when compared to modern builds. There is a damage value attached to this tool, but you cannot actually damage enemies with it. What are weapons without things to shoot? The creature AI in this game is... well, it's trying really hard. Yeah, to say the least, it's unfinished. Ground creatures don't know how to climb walls, let alone small steps. Even the flying ones tend to get stuck on terrain occasionally. The Glyphid family in the pre-alpha boasts very early versions of familiar creatures. We've got the Spider Small or Glyphid Swarmer, the notorious ankle biter, often encountered alongside the spawner. Spider Medium or Glyphid Grunt, the cannon fodder of the bunch, or at least they are in the modern builds. There's way less of these in here. Spider Large or Glyphid Praetorian, in the pre-alpha it's really just a stronger and tankier grunt, carrying no special attacks. Spider Large Variant 2 or Glyphid Armored Praetorian is an interesting variation of this creature. Unsure if the two slabs on its sides do anything besides make the ragdoll fly around miraculously upon its death. Spider Shooting or Glyphid Acid Spitter also cannot climb walls nor ceilings. It'll usually just hang back and shoot through all of its allies to annoy you. The Nedicite family. Original name was quite simply Cave Jellies. Their original models are actually still used for cave cruisers today. Jellyfish Swarmer or Nedicite Shocker is a small floating bastard targeting any dwarves it spots. I believe these can only spawn from the breeder. Jellyfish Mother or Nedicite Breeder is a large cave jelly that's pretty much defenseless aside from spawning shockers. Jellyfish Shooter, or known as Jelly Spike Slinger in Update 6, is a cave jelly variant with a ranged attack. Most notably has a long tentacle-like thing sticking out. Then we've got stationary threats like the Spider Spawner or Glyphid Brood Nexus. These Glyphid spawners served a bigger purpose in the pre-alpha, often being placed at the end of caves and being part of mission objectives. Tentacle Monster or Cave Leech. The early version here seems to instantly grab you with a grapple hook tongue whenever you're in range. You can actually attempt to escape from it by pressing G and using your own grapple. And now, the main event, missions. For a pre-alpha there's quite a few missions to choose from. Granted, most of them on the surface seem the same, but upon deeper digging you start figuring out the cave formations it tries to generate, which are quite fascinating. I feel like it's only natural to bring up cave formations alongside missions. If we were to do an entire separate thing for the caves, then we'll be here all day. To start it off, we've got one player mission. As the name implies, it's designed for solo play. The objective is a basic 250 gold collection. This mission generates 4 linear rooms. The middle rooms will always have enemies and the last one will always have the gold needed to finish. It also purposefully avoids spawning cave leeches since it assumes you're playing alone. It's worth mentioning that the drop pod will always arrive where you finish the mission in all of these missions. Unsurprisingly, this is the easiest mission of the bunch. The only real threat is the Brood Nexus at the end, which is still easy to deal with considering the unfinished AI. 2 players mission. Supposedly meant for 2 players. The objective is a simple eliminate 1 or 2 Brood Nexuses. This mission also generates 4 linear rooms, but you may need to eliminate either 1 or 2 targets. In the latter's case, you will always have a Brood Nexus spawn in the second room, but all the other rooms besides spawn and treasure seem to be completely random. With that said, the pool of which rooms 2 players mission is allowed to choose from is fairly small. For example, you will often encounter the 4 nostril cave, or the 2 ziplines one. Yeah, I'm not exactly good at naming stuff. Mine's mission had piqued my interest in its mysterious cave generation. While the objective is the default 250 gold collection, the cave it attempts to generate is the real thing here. I've admittedly spent too much time trying to figure this thing out. Some of you may have seen me post this in the community tab actually, and you'll soon find out what it truly meant. What? Nobody can see that, you stupid thing! Whatever, I'll just make Sniss do it.
You start off in the spawn room and then head down towards a nexus where you can usually find multiple tunnels. Some of these tunnels will lead you to dead ends. Both of these paths will lead you to a Brood Nexus room, but let's focus on the left one first. The left path will bring you to a huge drop that eventually leads to a large treasure room filled with Brood Nexuses and also some small sub-rooms within. Meanwhile, the right path will lead you into another Nexus cave, and from there you may run into either a dead-end tunnel or a very long tunnel leading you all the way back up to another treasure room, which often generates right next to spawn. Because this treasure room is right next to spawn, they have a tendency to merge together, making the mission 100 times shorter. And when it doesn't merge together, you can just drill to the treasure room anyway. The dead-end tunnels seem to be where rooms were supposed to generate, but for some reason they don't.
I am not 100% sure if this branching path thing is an amazing generation glitch, or intended, but I actually think it's a great concept. It is a great concept from a solo perspective. Co-op wise, I can see some players easily getting lost. Well, besides the dead-end tunnels and shitty toxic gas. Simple Mission has a small objective of collecting 150 gold. It creates from 5 up to 6 linear caves, each of them filled with a decent amount of gold, so you'll often finish it within the first few rooms. A small pack of enemies tend to spawn shortly after you exit the drop pod upon arrival. Spillba mission, being specifically created for developer's showcase event, has preset caves and comes with a default 250 gold collection objective. It creates 5 linear rooms. The room after spawn will always be this 2 jagged tubes cave. The next one will always have these 3 pillars here. The second last room will always have this lava geyser cliff situation, and of course the treasure room at the end. A Brood Nexus always tends to spawn in the second or third room, and all the rooms save for spawn, and the third one will contain gold. You can often complete this mission before reaching the treasure room. 4-Way Dungeon is a mission that tries a similar idea to Mines but with a hub area instead. It also has an exclusive objective for collecting 4 artifacts, but it's really nothing to run home about. Although the cave layout is a bit interesting. So take it away, sniss.
4-Way Dungeon creates a sort of semi-linear cave layout. From spawn, you will always have one path to choose from, which leads you into an artifact room. And usually the next room will be a hub area where you have 3 other tunnels to choose from. Each of those tunnels will contain 1 artifact. Along with that, 3 of the 4 artifacts will have a Brood Nexus alongside it. For some reason, the host is the only one who's able to see these artifacts. Either that, or DRG Historian just tends to have hallucinations of floating gray cubes. Regardless, these artifacts will take a long 10 seconds to pick up.
No, I'm not hallucinating. No. I like to think that the mission's cave layout eventually evolved into the elimination missions we have now, and the devs decided to settle for much less backtracking. Endless is fairly experimental and very similar to deep dives. The objective is mainly eliminate targets, but the amount rises up as you progress through each level. So, Endless mode starts off with just a few caves and a single elimination target. At the end of the mission, you will have to reach a specific extraction point and wait a longer time than usual for the drop pod to arrive. In the second level, the room count should increase by 1 and the wait time for the drop pod increases by another 30 seconds. On level 3, the objective count increases by 1, also more rooms and longer wait time for the escape. From this, we can roughly determine that each level makes the layout and escape time longer. Also, every 2 levels the objective increases. The idea of getting around a proper endless mode with multiple levels seems to have been around for a while. They seemingly didn't experiment with it much until the Deep Dives update, since just a few pre-alpha builds later endless mode already breaks. Making endless caves does seem next to impossible for such a game, but what the developers may or may not realize is they have already crafted a great endless mode preset with point extraction. I always thought with some adjustments it could make for a fun endless mode. Hell, you could even bring back GoldFrenzy for endless mode to some degree. Alright, I'll stop shoving my idea down now. For the next missions, we'll have to skip over to a more recent pre-alpha build. This build will visually look a lot like Update 2. Speed Mining, otherwise known as the DreamHack Gauntlet, seems to be an exclusive mission designed for their DreamHack debut. What's unique to this mission is the lack of objective. You start up the mission, get out of the drop pod, and a 4-minute timer starts below. While you can just brainlessly rush to the drop pod and escape within seconds, the main point of this mission is to get as much gold as possible within the set time limit. Although, the GoldFrenzy system is disabled, so are resupply drops and Brood Nexuses. You will also always encounter a cave leech near the escape pod. Interestingly, it has exclusive mission control voice lines.
Blah 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 blah.
Oh, whoops, wrong one.
This is gonna be quick and dirty. Collect as much gold as possible, make it out alive.
Yeah, this one. My personal best record is 411 gold collected as engineer. Speed mining random seems like an attempt of making a randomly generated speed mining mission. Sadly, it's broken. The escape pod never arrives and you're doomed to collect gold forever in this small cave. Hey, at least it's just the Glyphid family on this mission. Exploration isn't quite what it sounds like. You do not enter exploration mode of any sort, it's just a normal mission with big open caves, enemies, and a hefty 750 gold collection objective. The cave layout becomes non-linear due to the nature of the large rooms intercepting with one another. Although it does spawn gold in these rooms, it's a better idea to hunt for the treasure room, which will always contain more than enough gold to complete the 750 objective. This is the longest mission when you don't count endless, which is, well, theoretically endless. While working on this project, I asked if there's anything people would like to know about the pre-alpha. How to Engineer asks, why is it weird? Well, besides the mines, early glyphids, buggy ragdolls, creepy atmosphere, dev texture cubes, abandoned mines, extra early deep dives, pre-alpha rig, I guess it's not that weird. And Joe Will asks, is it possible for us to play pre-alpha ourselves? No. The public cannot go back any further than update 6 via the Steam depots method. I did make a tutorial on that, but the second half of it is outdated. Delete This Too asks, what was the worst part about the pre-alpha in your experience? I feel like I might have become numb to what I hated about the pre-alpha. Figuring out the mine's cave layout was a headache, but also really intriguing. I'd say the cave leech is purely from an explorational perspective, but from a combat perspective, I'd actually say the Nedicite shockers or cave jellies, the small ones. I kinda never fucking liked them, to be honest. Luke Villion asks, I hope I said his last name right, I'd like to know what are your personal favorite cut alpha content that you'd like to see make a return in a future update. I honestly didn't have any favorites up until I reached speed mining. While the idea is fairly simple, it was quite fun fumbling around the caves and barely make it back to the drop pod on time while trying to beat my personal record. Hey, obvious later recording of Historian here, I decided to redo the end bit of the script because, well, it's clear the plans have changed. First off though, sending out my thanks to Sniss for doing these cool visuals for the non-linear missions. You should check out his videos if you haven't already. They are very stylized and pretty damn entertaining. Of course, also thanks to my friend for doing Mission Control's voice for my made up lore. He's also Danish himself, not asking him to do it would have just been plain wrong. Now the pre-alpha month situation. I thank all of you for your patience with this video. Putting out a huge info dump on the pre-alpha feels good and hopefully wasn't an entirely disappointing wait. My next video will probably be Classified 14 focused on strange pre-alpha discoveries as an apology for the delays. As for the endless stream, it'll have to wait a while, but it will happen. Since you've stuck around for this long, did you enjoy the Space Rig Evolution video? Well, I'm merging the pre-alpha and drill phases into one because apparently the drill is just an area on the pre-alpha rig.
Good luck, Rock Raiders.